Welcome to Queen Deluxe. Let's do some vintage sewing. This week on Queen Deluxe, we continue work on my Regency ball gown. We are concentrating on sleeves. The sleeves on this gown are kind of epic, so let's get started. The sleeves of the ball gown are in three major parts. We have the puff at the top, the lower three puffs, and then the bit that wraps around the very top. I cut the top puff in white satin and in the sheer cotton. I have to run a new bobbin. There's a lot of gathering that we will be doing next. So each of the segments has to be gathered separately, and then we will assemble all the parts. So here we go. Endless amounts of gathering montage. I will run 2 sets of gathering stitches at about 1/4 of an inch and 1/2 inch on top edge of the top puff and the lower edge of the top puff in both satin and cotton, and then rows and rows of gathering on the lower puff. So there are top, above the elbow, below the elbow, and at wrist. I start to gather those stitches on the lower sleeve. I have also added a little bit of lace down at the bottom of the hem. So this is right at the wrist. I'm going to be pulling it to about 2 inches bigger than my wrist measurement. And I will continue to do the same all the way up. It won't be to my wrist measurement, but it will be to the corresponding measurements. So I have taken a measurement below the elbow, above the elbow, and at the bicep. And then I will be stitching a trim onto those gathered segments to control and hold that measurement to the correct span. I've chosen a stable gold braid for that trim. I have cut the trim at the measurements plus 2 inches. So we have the 2-inch excess is the, let's just say, for the wrist. Wrist measurement is 6, but I cut the trim at 8 so that I would have 1 inch for seam allowance and 1 inch for ease. Sewing it all together. So I have the 2 top puffs in cotton and in satin, and the lower puff segment with all of the trim that I just did. I'm sewing those together onto a band that is my bicep measurement plus 2. The band is a 2-inch wide piece of satin with the selvage included. I'm going to wrap that selvage around the trimmed seam allowance to create a small little casing and a little inside band to clean up all of that goo. And then I will insert a little piece of corded elastic to hold that to my bicep. All right, last piece of trim that's going to go sort of in the ditch of where the 2 sleeves sort of meet. So I'm going to just do one stitch of, one top stitch holding this trim in that little ditch. So I'm not cutting into my casing area. Sewing the sleeve flat like this gives you way more control than trying to put the trim on in the round. It gets really fussy and you have to have a sewing machine with a free arm, which I do not have. But I always construct sleeves in this manner. And then if they ever have to be altered later, it's also easier. You can just undo the sleeve inseam. Here's the inside with that casing so exposed so you can see it, and no gross seam allowance. time to test. It looks so great, pretty princess sleeve. Now I'm gonna do a French seam, and this puppy will be all together. Well, not really, I still gotta do that top bit. So French seaming 1/4 inch on with wrong sides together all the way down. As you will see, I will skip the wrist area and I will end up finishing that off and putting on a little snap. Other side of that French seam, we flip and sew right sides together, encasing the raw edges of the previous seam allowance. It is a little bulky over the trim and seam allowance gunk right there at the bicep, but other than that, it goes pretty smoothly. All right, last bit, sleeve caps. I had just enough fabric to handle the sleeve caps. They're done on the bias with trim on that bias edge and sort of futzed into place. I have this trim sewn on the sleeve cap. It's pinned. I think I like the way that it's looking. And here they are, fully installed and ready to go. I think they turned out quite lovely.
They're real big.
Thanks for sewing with me this week. I had fun. I hope you did too. Keep a lookout for the next video in the series. I'll be finishing up this gown. See ya.